Welcome back to Cantina Chronicles on Canto Bite for the greatest heist of all time. Our spoiler review of Outlaws.
I know it didn't take long, right? It was like every week we're not going to talk about it. We're not going to talk about it. And then it's like it'll be a long time, and then it was like, okay, next week we're all done, and there we go.
I feel like there's like a weird Aesop's fable connected to how we all played this game. Like Grant sped through it. I was like slightly behind, but now I'm obsessed and trying to 100% it. And like slow and steady wins the race for Ben, because Ben was like slow and steady with this game, and he's like, love this game, best game ever. Because I think you played it the right way.
Yeah, I'm not saying best game ever, but it satisfied way more than I expected. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this game because I don't like stealth games, and it just dropped me in such a luscious like Star Wars environment as a Star Wars fan that I just loved, and it gave me all the things. It's a weird niche time period, but again, that's coming from a Star Wars dork, but I understand what time period this is, and I loved it. I was like, oh, all this Crimson Dawn stuff. We got Kira. It's just like, it calls back to all the comics I just read about this, and I felt really cozy in this little niche between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, with this weird POV, like a POV we really haven't had a lot of. It's just like you get to be Han Solo, pretty much.
Yeah.
Doing your thing.
In a lot of ways, she's very much a Han Solo sub, right? Like this idea, we talked a bit about this off air, but like, Ben listed all of the people that she saves throughout this game, and it's a very Han Solo move of like pretending not to care, and then caring deeply about everything and everyone.
Yeah. I sped through it. I loved it. I remember, all my experiences throughout the game and just how blown away I was with the reveals and, again, the Easter eggs to War of the Bounty Hunters in the comics, like you're saying, Ben. That stuff was just incredible. And I what I really like about the game is I feel like it's a proof of concept for what we could get in the future. Like, to me, it's like what they did here, what Massive did with just all the systems and the experts and the syndicates and the reputation system and just everything they did. I was like, this is such a good foundation for the future of open world Star Wars games that I'm hopeful that we get more open world Star Wars games. And there's a lot of criticism thrown at this game for like maybe bugs and certain issues with stealth mechanics, like you're saying, Ben, that hesitation of like I'm jumping in all these like mandatory stealth missions. I don't know if I want to do this. And then if you come out the other end on this, I think like the next game could just maybe be a little bit better in terms of like quality of life experience for the player, and then as well as just way more systems, way more living systems too. Like if any Star Wars, if any IP deserves a sort of like living world to throw the player in, I think it's Star Wars. Like honestly, everything around you could have its own little system and interaction and more player choice, more player expression, more going on with all systems. But again, like the storytelling's good and interesting. There's some bits that I wanted a little bit more in terms of like relationships and development of certain relationships in the ensemble and the core ensemble. But other than that, I think like, again, we can do a fixed story in the future with maybe a little bit more player expression, player choice involved. So I'm excited about this as a proof of concept, most of all.
Yeah. The mandatory stealth mission stuff is really interesting because I think this is the third Star Wars game, AAA Star Wars game in a row that has kind of gotten some critiques about being way too difficult at times, right? Which I think is interesting. I kind of love that they're doing that. Like the Jedi, like Fallen Order and Survivor, both got kind of dinged a little bit. I mean, they're both like super highly rated, but like I guess reviewers are actually like impressed with how difficult they made that game at times. And with this game, I feel like the stealth mechanic stuff is there, and one of its greatest strengths is also its greatest flaws is that this game doesn't hold your hand. You kind of have to learn how to do some of the stuff and figure it out yourself. And there's obviously some training, but like one of the things is like, I wish at some point they were just at the beginning going like, you don't have to do this mission. Like once you become like good with any of these syndicates, you can just walk through half this stuff, because once I got like past good, like you only have to stealth like very limited areas, and the path to get to where you are to where you go is pretty straightforward. But like, they
you guys ever slide into an elevator?
Oh yeah, all the time. I'm sliding all around.
You guys ever slide into a turbo lift?
Love it.
Yeah, I slide all the time. That's funny. Yet Adam and I don't know if or both of you have played Assassin's Creed games. I find this way easier than any Assassin's Creed game.
Well, I will say with the Assassin's Creed is there very rarely does that game have not auto fail, like automatic fail if you get caught mechanics. Like, so for Assassin's Creed, Grant and I play that game in about the two most extremes you possibly can. I assume you like to stealth in Assassin's Creed, Grant? Is that correct? When we've talked?
Yeah, I want to alert zero people.
I want to alert and kill everyone.
Oh, okay. We play it it depends. In Odyssey, I think I was a little bit more.
Odyssey. Same with like
more bravado exhibit.
Yeah, or Valhalla is very like you're a Viking. You want to kill everyone. But the early Assassin's Creed, and so like I think what people were bumping up against with this game is like the get caught auto fail. Like it's very much like Metal Gear in that way.
I kind of liked that in that it saved you time. Like it was just like you're caught, try it again, and like in in Assassin's Creed it'd be like you get caught. All heck breaks loose, and then you have to run away, let it reset, and then come back. It's just sort of like nope, just like give it another shot, guy. Like and it you really didn't get punished that much. The other thing Grant, what you're saying is like it's a good beginning to iterate upon. I think Ubisoft has been very comfortable with using the same established materials and just iterating on them, and sometimes not iterating at all, really, like very small increments to change from one game to the next. But it's like they I could actually like other video game companies that just like seems like they want to change the whole thing, but I feel like Ubisoft's like, nope, we'll get you another game out in 2 or 3 years, and
90% of it's the same.
90% is the same, but we'll introduce some new stuff, we'll change some things around. And I was really impressed with how different, and I said this last week, how different this game was from all the Assassin's Creed games. I think it's wildly different than, like, it's a much farther jump. Like, I thought Valhalla was a pretty big jump from the last game, this is a bigger jump, I think, than that. From like as far as an iteration of like different.
Well, isn't Ubisoft the perfect sort of home for this sort of franchise? Outlaws, this scoundrel sort of like action adventure storytelling, because doesn't only feel like Assassin's Creed, it also feels like Splinter Cell, like how you're talking about the instant fail and sort of the stealth missions and things like that. Like Ubisoft, obviously the home of Splinter Cell. Maybe more like the Division, obviously massive comes from making the Division. Like that game is this beautifully crafted sort of like action RPG third person sort of shooter game that's really, really quite good and quite deep in terms of its like systems and items and having a fixed story but allowing player expression. Like a future Outlaws game could be the game of our dreams, essentially, with again more systems in the open world, more mini games. A garage for more speeder bikes, a ship that can hold a couple, maybe another ship, you know what I mean?
Ship, or different ships,
planet, actually stopping, in shutting down systems in space, walking around your cabin space, feeling like you're in that galaxy. So like Ubisoft, I think will just, again, Ben, I'm right there with you. I think they will iterate on this. Hopefully they'll iterate. Again, we can do this whole market analysis about the game and be pessimistic, talk about the critiques online and just like some of the negative feedback and negative data. Like, I know everyone is just thinking about the data, and I just think you need to look at, like, again, this as a foundation and keep going, because the next one could be extremely strong, so strong in terms of like our conversation right now is not even going to compare to what's actually possible and what I'm sure these brilliant game designers will develop.
Yeah, Ben, you made that point. I think like the week one when we were reviewing this game, and I think I was the most negative on it the first, which is ironic because now I have platinumed it and I'm trying to 100% it. But like I completely came around, and a lot of coming around to it was your statement of just like, but this is the first one.
It's the first open world.
You're right.
Star
this is the
Wars
first
game.
one.
Yeah.
Like that's wild. The other thing is,
and there are ATSTs.
Yeah, there's ATSTs. And the other thing that there's like nothing you can do other than try to avoid him. The other thing I will.
It's so cool.
It's
like,
so cool.
Like real life.
The other thing I think we were talking about the Acolyte last week, and I kind of brought up the costs, the ballooning cost. And Grant, I think maybe you made the point. Maybe it was Ben. Those are my two options, so I covered all my bases. But But you had said something along the lines of just like, well, yeah, that cost is a lot, but a lot of that cost is built into season 1, and then season 2 is going to be less expensive, so you spread that cost over. And I'm like, that's the thing about this game, is that like, yes, maybe this game will end up losing money, but a weird way to probably recruit money is to make a second game where you iterate. It costs a lot less to make it because you have all the things built in already. Yeah. And then, you know what I mean? Like, so I'm hoping that they don't just take this as, yep, failure, we'll never do this again. As a, yep, okay, notes taken, we're going to improve and iterate and release Outlaws 2.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
And there's a real risk of that, and it makes me very sad online, just like how it's gotten buried by just like, I don't know where all this hate. It's like, the whole like, Disney or Star Wars fatigue. It's like, okay, then don't play the game. But why, if you're so fatigued, why are you writing hate posts? But okay, you guys got your chance to review this game when you both finished it. I want to do a quick review of this game myself.
That is fair. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, Ben's
granted, it took me longer than everybody else, but
I think a normal amount of time.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that, and I think firstly, I'm extremely dumb, and I'm pretty normal baseline room temperature intelligence.
Untrue, but keep
going. That's false.
Well, at least when it comes to this, and maybe intentionally so. But listen, no notes, man. I really just story. I loved it. I thought it was completely appropriate. Well, everything I'd want out of a Star Wars story. It just like it was a different take on the orphan thing, though. It's just like everyone's got to be an orphan. But this one, she was like, she knew her parents. It's like her parents weren't stolen by the Empire. Her mom left her. With a bartender in a bar.
Incredibly tough story. And Kay Vess, probably my favorite character of the game. Like, you just get so deep inside her head and what's going on with her character and her past, like you're saying, with her mom.
But still, she's like a
meeting your mom. Yeah, spoilers. This is a spoiler cast.
Spoiler. Yeah, now we've all played it. We're talking about everything.
When you reunite with your mom, and she's like, you're working alongside her. It is like a prestige. 1 hour drama. Like, it is so well done in terms of like, I just really like those.
But I like, at the same time, Kay is very much a blank canvas. She is just like an unnamed avatar, really, that you're doing. It's like, there's nothing special about her. She's just a person in the galaxy.
Excuse me, I am taking down entire Imperial facility
because you're controlling
and
her.
knocking every stormtrooper out.
But I mean, you're doing
game,
she gets not K-Vets.
She gets a bit she gets a bit OP towards the end. Like now when I play the game, I'm like, I'm wanted. Okay, fine, I'll go kill 5 Death Troopers. That's easier than anything else. But no, I know.
At the end of the game, it's like you face off against a Star Destroyer and a million TIEs and like TIE Advance, and I'm like, why am I calling in backup? I'm like, let me solo this Star Destroyer.
I got it. Yeah.
But that's
right. I forgot you like fight a Star Destroyer at the end.
Yeah.
I'm with you, Ben. No notes. This game's perfect.
It's just like, listen, it was a little glitchy. A couple like tags in places they shouldn't be. Like, it crashed a couple times, but like nothing more severe than any other game I've ever played before. It's not like, oh, this game's unplayable. Like I said many times playing Battlefront 2, but like. It just no notes. Like, it had a good story. It did the thing. I felt like I was in Star Wars. It introduced me to some new playing mechanics that I'm not used to. It scratched the adventure game itch that like I kind of only play adventure games. Like, single player adventure games is my thing. Did that.
Yeah, similar.
It was open world enough where I just like, and like, yes, well, you could only did a few things. Like, the missions were very diverse. It's not all the same mission. Like, sometimes when you're doing work, like you pick up a job and you do a job, it's very similar.
Those are like, there's like 5 different
when you meet NPCs and they have something for you to do, they can be wildly different. And like, over the course of the full game, the 60 hours, yes, I was like, okay, I feel like I've done everything, but it's like, I got 60 hours out of the game. That's $1 an hour, okay.
Yeah. I'm still running into people, not 100 hours in, trying to like 100% of this game. I'll wander by and there'll still be something like, hey, come over here. I'm like, what? There's another thing I haven't done? Like,
but that's so impressive. And that, like, that was my initial thing where I was like, oh my gosh, this game is huge. Like, I'll never do all this stuff. And I was so excited to have hours and hours and hours to spend in this game exploring as an outlaw, which is like, we haven't really got an outlaw story. We got like Han Solo's origin story. But like, this is just in the grime, in the muck, dealing with, other syndicates and just trying to make a living, and it felt real to me. It was fun.
I think meeting Kira, seeing Jabba the Hutt, like these moments in the game were just mind blowing. Honestly,
yeah,
it is also
exactly what a fan wants.
Fun from her perspective as someone who realizes she's a newbie to this of
she's
being
so
like
naive.
Scared of Jabba, like not like Han Solo is like nonchalant, whatever. Like she is like every time she meets with these people, she's like, I am way out of my depth here, which I appreciate as a different way to tell that story. I want to say I want to highlight one other.
Was. Yeah, it was like ND5 was like,
she doesn't know any.
You need to worry, and like us as like observers are like, you need to worry about this, and then she's like, oh, okay, we'll just figure it out.
Yeah. Just a photo accurate Jabba's palace and the gateway, the door, like everything about that place, that location, and Tatooine. To me, was just so special. Discovering for the first. So
Tatooine's amazing. Yesterday I realized I had to go. I was like, there's another treasure location I haven't found, because that's kind of where I'm at now, is trying to find all the treasures. Because there's so, as you mentioned last week, there's so many paint jobs. I'm now on the paint job missions, trying to get all the paint jobs.
Nice.
But like I randomly went out to Lars Homestead. How is this the first time in a Lars Homestead? Have you been out there yet?
It's called Lars Homestead?
It's the first place I went. That's the first place I went.
And there is you meet people there and have a conversation with them, and it's just this kind of amazing moment of just like
incredible.
Having a discussion about like what people think about the Lars Homestead post Luke leaving. It's kind of amazing. Yeah, so go out there, go to Wayfar, go down to Tashi Station, and
right next to that.
Head west. Head west.
You're kind of in the
west.
Tashi Station's down in the southeast corner.
Yeah, and you'll see it
there,
down there,
right?
which is also it's right. It's pretty close.
Because I've sort of blown through it. I think I saved some people in like
that's how cool this game is. You can pass the Lars Homestead because you're just involved in too many fetch quests, or you're just like, I gotta go over here.
Yeah, but like that's where I'm like, this game is perfect. Where I'm like, I just found this like 100 hours in, because nothing tells you to go out there. There's no reason to go out there. You just end up finding it if you're just trying to 100% the grade. I want to point out one other thing, Ben, that you'd kind of pointed out that I didn't really think about, is that like, right, we talk about like Star Wars stories are often orphan stories, right? And so we have the orphan story, which is just like parents dead at birth, is generally the Star Wars story, right?
Or sucked into the Empire. Or killed by
sucked into the Empire some other way. Right, killed by the Empire, but parents not there. And that makes them, the parents are raised on a pedestal in that way, right? It's just kind of this idea of like the parents I lost or didn't know, right? Which is a really important storytelling. You also, little less in Star Wars, but you do have runaway stories of kids that run away from bad parents. There's not a ton of them there, but we are aware of those stories a lot. We think of those stories just outside of Star Wars. That's a pretty, common story. I'm coming from some sociology standpoint. One of the things we talk about when we talk about juveniles and juveniles that fall into the system is we don't talk about orphans all that much. We have them, but we have a system, not great, but we have a system in place for orphans at birth. We do have a system for runaways. The ones we don't talk about a lot are what we refer to, and this is a term, so I'm just going to use it, are throwaways.
Wow.
Which are the ones where not that the kids decide to leave an abusive situation or run away for whatever reason, but the parents tell them, get the F out of my house and never come back. Like, those are the stories that we don't hear a lot about, but there are so many kids in America who are throwaways, who parents just told to leave, don't come back, right? Who end up homeless or in other situations. And this is that kind of story. It's not quite that it's cut and dry and dirty, but this is, I'm kind of loving
this is stash in attic above bar and leave tracking token with.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I kind of love getting a story of a throwaway, right? Of a kid whose mom abandons her, for a reason, and we get to
what
that.
Is
but
the reason,
anyway.
By the way.
Didn't she say she had a death mark on her or something? Like, is it something?
No,
so of course, it's better than being hunted by like Cad Bane, or I don't know.
She was like,
what if Cad Bane was in this game? I would lose it.
It's kind of wild that he wasn't. I kept expecting to run into him, to be honest.
I thought he was going to be like the gunslinger that trained you, but like he would have just killed her.
Ben has ultimate fan service aligned. He's like, you've got every situation lined up for what we could see in terms of deep legacy Ben.
Well, as soon as I see like a distorted face character like in a lineup, my head starts like shuffling through all the characters like it could be that I know. And I'm just like, all right, gunslinger, Tatooine, like, I don't know. In this time period, yeah, he's there somewhere.
That was my favorite. That was one of my favorite experts, actually. Shooting on the range and then defending.
Was that her name?
Yeah. Is that his name?
I think so, something like that.
Yeah, their name.
Out in Wayfar.
Yeah, that was good times. And then because it really levels you up. I did love shooting people. The outlaw fit, which I don't think you can get till you do the Jabba mission, is lethal. It's just lethal. You tank and you destroy something. Just like buffs your adrenaline and your firepower and your health at the same time. It's like the more you kill, the more strong you become.
The more health and adrenaline. And I didn't really use adrenaline all that much until like towards the end game, because and then at that point I could mark 7 people and adrenaline, so I was like constantly just.
Do you guys remember
I was playing like
through like Imperial hangars and you're like, I have no idea how to get past this this many,
and now I just go in, I try stealth, a second I'm like whatever. I'll just kill them all, I guess.
Because theoretically if you use quick draw you can take them all out and not break stealth, right? Like if you
no,
depending on
that's
sound.
Noise. This noise you're gonna set it off with the noise, but you can use a stun. Like I also got the buffs that I just use stun constantly. I stun everyone and punch them out, like the ion.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the stun.
Yeah. Anyways, it was fun. I mean, I guess maybe if we really want to go deep into endgame here and spoilers, so my interpretation was like. There was a flashback like the last time Kay gets knocked out, right? Every time she gets knocked out, she has a flashback or a dream or whatever. And it was a message left for her from her mom, and her mom's like, listen, I'm not going to change. My life is too dangerous. If you stick with me, you're just going to get killed. You're different. So I'm just going to go. I'm going to leave you. I mean, is that the reason? Is that the validation?
Yeah, basically. Yeah. Her idea is that I have to abandon you to protect you. BS.
Right.
Yeah.
And then so she leaves the token with a tracker.
So he's a bartender.
Yeah, so it's just like in case anything.
So she's like, here, bartender, take care of my child.
Right. And if
he is like a father figure character. I forget his name, but the bartender.
Biff, Brax,
Bram.
Yeah, like Bram.
Bram.
There you go.
Yeah, the fat. I'm sorry. Well, Hardy. We'll call him Husky, maybe.
We're all. If everyone was watching the video, we're allowed to use the word fat.
What's the name of the? What's the name of the species though? They're just like all.
Zabrak.
Yeah, Zabrak. Yeah, it's just like all Zabraks are like very svelte and like Bram's well fed, which is good.
He's a bartender.
It was a nice take. He was good times. But, so I guess, so it's like if she ever got in a really tough jam, her mom, like Bram would find, what's her name, her mom, and her mom could bust her out or whatever because she could find her. But, I don't know. I mean, the end scene was like, it was very touching and, but no, I thought it was a fun story. It was a great ride and, it's good.
I thought the villain was just, to me, I thought, 2 things of the story that were just a little bit confusing in terms of like design, narrative design, was like the sort of Sliro underworld sort of Sliro is in the ISB, but he's also the head of the Zarak Bash Syndicate, and the Zarak Bash Syndicate is essentially a like puppet faction designed by Vader and like the Empire, Vader appears and like in a scene where he sort of connects Sliro to the Empire in a very integral way for us fans, because we're like, wow, it's Darth Vader. But in my opinion, I was like, I never really thought Vader would be involved with the ISB. If we read any of the Inquisitor comics or just sort of like are understanding where his head's at, usually I think it's with like Inquisitors or doing some sort of like clandestine, his own personal journeys, or the Mustafar game, like the things like that are just you're kind of like, what's his connection to this syndicate? Well, why does he want to control this? But I guess this is after War of the Bounty Hunters, and this is after Crimson Reign, and this is Kira is sort of a huge player in the galaxy, and so like it is vindicated for that measure. But at the same time, I was like, I don't know, but I just didn't think Vader and Sliro would be like having an intimate conversation in a room at any point.
Weirdly, if this game came out after episode 5 came out, this is going to be a weird thing. If there's no other lore other than episodes 4, 5, 6 in this game, I'd be like, yeah, it makes sense. He'd be involved in this stuff because he's presented as like kind of the emperor's just, dog basically goes out and corrects these things. But since we've expanded the lore to be like, no, he's pretty integral in just dealing with force related issues and Jedi and all that stuff. I agree. I was with Grant. I know, Ben, we'll get your thoughts on this in a second. I'm with Grant. The second Vader showed up, I'm like, why is Vader here? Oh, this is just because we have to have Vader in this game. I bumped up against it, to be honest. And that sounds weird because like I don't want to be like grouchy about seeing Darth Vader. I love Darth Vader. I want to see Darth Vader. But I just was like, okay. Like, and I'm also just like, this is not going to mean anything because if we had KVS have to go up against Darth Vader and survive, I would have been done with this game. I would literally shut the game off and be like, I'm done, right? So I knew at that point they're not going to have KVS.
If KVS's mom was hiding a holocron of all the Jedi and the path or the origins of sort of the path on Jabim and sort of like this protecting of the surviving Jedi sort of thing, and that's why her death mark was on her, and Vader was like after her mom, and Vader appeared in that circumstance, I would have been like, oh, that makes sense. He's like looking for Jedi, and his mom is like a ultimate slicer who got some data and got out, and Vader's involved. But like when he appears with Slira, I was just like, I don't get why he would tamper with the underworld, but I feel like that's Palpatine's.
I entirely disagree with that. I mean, this is like so the only Jedi that Vader's thinking about, you have to think this is like Yite before Return of the Jedi. The only Jedi he's thinking about is Luke.
Right.
All the Jedi are dead. He doesn't
Luke.
care about anyone but Luke. And the Emperor.
Point.
Like those are the only two Jedi, like Force wielders.
All the Jedi aren't dead, but yes.
And they're at a fever pitch. Like this is the strongest the rebellion's ever been. So he's thinking about rebels. And
that's true.
And from the comics, we know that like Vader dealt a lot with. He was deeply into the War of the Bounty Hunters. So he's like, didn't he kill pretty much most of the Hutt clan by himself? And I think this just I think it makes sense. Like, I can see how he bumped up against it, but like I didn't at all. And he is just like, so it's like Sliro is just like a really ambitious guy that just like did whatever he did to get his way up to, high up in the ISB, and then he had this wild idea that he was going to create a syndicate to try and like tap into their information system, which actually I think is kind of a cool idea. It makes a lot of sense to me. It's kind of fun.
It's a cool idea. I don't know if they needed to add the brother twist. Like, I don't know if you needed twist upon twist. Yeah. It was like, and then it was just like, I'm doing this because of like brotherly, like I'm the little brother and yada yada yada. Like because I like the plan. I like his plan, right? And I just feel like a hat on a hat in some ways. Where I'm like, why are we adding so much?
Did either of you guys like the movie?
Yeah, the brother double cross, brother droid cross. Like I was just like, okay, like I didn't really know what Kay Vess's agency was in all of that. I almost thought she could have, I don't know, taken out Jalen or something. Like, I don't know. Like, I thought the point of Kay Vess's story was to do something, like, super impactful. It said, like, it's just ND5, really, kind of like.
But I like that in that, like, we don't have another protagonist, which we're going to get to when we talk about Inquisitors, who feels like their entire mission is to change the universe or the galaxy. Like she was just trying to survive. Like I kind of like the fight. Like she wasn't going to be Han Solo who comes back to rescue Luke to then become part of the rebellion. She's like, no, I am just going to save people and get the F out of here because I got to survive.
I love that line where Asara was like, hey, we could all, we could really use you. And she's like, I'm a little tired of being used. That was like, it's a pretty great line.
Well, that's a good line.
She says something in the middle of the game that I love that's similar to that, where she's like, I can't, this is gonna be like an anonymous quote, so it's a total misquote, but it's something along the lines or with the feeling of like, isn't it funny how you and all of these syndicates and the Imperials always try to use people like me to get what you want? And there's a damning moment where she says it. I wish I wrote it down when it happened, because I'm like, that is, for little people, I can see why the rebellion and the Imperials and the syndicates all look the same, because they do use or have to use people like Kay.
I thought they did a really good job of like really forcing you to look through Kay's eyes, and it's a unique point of view compared to the rest of the stories that we've gotten in Star Wars, where it's all these heroes that think they're gonna that are gonna change the course of the galaxy. This is like Star Wars storytelling going forward. So much can be done because it's like these other stories on the periphery can be just as exciting as the Skywalker saga.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah.
But not as impactful, right? Or galaxy-wide.
So I have one more thing. So did either of you guys like the movie Ocean's 11?
I love all the Ocean's movies. Yeah, I think they're all fun.
Yeah. I was just reacting off of Grant's. I'm like, I wanted to challenge him on all of it. But go ahead. Yeah.
No,
that's not the point. It's just like.
But I actually really like Ocean's 12.
I'm a Soderbergh nut, so like.
I'm just not a big fan of Ocean's 13.
Right. Well, I didn't say 12 or 13. I said 11.
I know. Yes, I like Ocean's. Yes, I like Ocean's 11. Ocean's 11 is undeniably.
So like that last scene where it's like you have the brothers facing off, and like, first of all, it's family. Star Wars has got to always have that family aspect to it. But it just felt like that was, the scene. It's like it's a little chaotic. It's a little dense. You're not really supposed to follow all the things. It's like. It's just like, it's twists and it turns.
I could take or leave both those characters.
All of their.
I was like, I don't care.
Okay.
I could take or leave those characters.
Brad Pitt?
Yeah.
Like, George Clooney?
No. I think.
No.
He's talking about.
I'm intentionally conflating things. No, but I mean that's what it's.
I mean, no. Put Brad Pitt in the game.
He's just eating potato chips in the corner. You're like, I love him. I mean, that's the way I looked at it. I was like, this is like as exciting as an Ocean's movie. Like it's just sort of that sort of. It's just intrigue upon intrigue upon intrigue, and it's just like, you're getting double crossed by so many people you don't even know who's double crossing anymore.
Didn't you already know that you were going to get double crossed by Jalen and ND5? They did not feel right.
Well, so that's what I like about. I kind of like the
hustle you into a deal.
Well, I like the ND5 is like ND5 tells the truth the entire time. Like ND5 through the entire time of the game is like I can't. Like I literally cannot go with you. Like I have to betray you. Like he basically says it so many times in the game. I will betray you, right? And like I love the fact that there's this weird redemption arc, which is like it's Star Wars also a redemption arc, right? And the redemption in this game is ND5's redemption in a weird way. I'm just like, and he's redeemed by having his restraining bolt removed and allowing to make his own free will decisions. It's a fascinating way to tell a Star Wars
instantly kill a guy who's been controlling me like since the Clone Wars. Since I was rebuilt.
You're I mean, not to like get overly I won't go there, but absolutely, like it is someone rising up right against their enslaver in a lot of ways, in a kind of a wonderful way. But I agree with you. Like the two big bads, I was kind of like about. It was fine. It was like fine to me. It wasn't amazing. It wasn't whatever. It made sense, but it wasn't great. But I'm also like, it's weird because you want to tell this grand story in between episodes 5 and 6, but you can't do too much, right? Because the game has to end where it clears the deck.
ISB officer wearing furs. I just didn't get that. I thought like no furs allowed.
Because he's I feel like
the ISB.
He's a maverick.
I feel like the ISB
he's doing wild things because.
Yeah, I know. I was like, this guy owns his own sector for sure.
He'd make a great warlord.
I love the look. I was all about it. I'm like, this is great. This guy's
That's a look, though. You want to go to the next Comic-Con? One of us just go full ISB with furs?
I could pull off. I could pull off that body type. I like it, yeah.
Whatever happened to Slero?
Yeah.
Did he die?
He dies.
Didn't he die?
Yes, he dies. Yeah. Jalen kills him, I think, or something. I don't
think he killed his brother.
If I confront each other.
I think you get knocked out and kind of don't know what happened.
I don't know. You're the one who beat it like yesterday.
You beat it like
you tell me. You tell me.
Anyways,
also, isn't the last?
We didn't talk about the Rancor fight.
Before we do that, isn't the last action scene running? Isn't the last thing you do in this game action scene or like playable scene running away from ND5?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that it? Is that the last thing? That thing.
That's the one I was talking to you about, Adam, or I was trying to be vague about in the previous podcast, where I was like, "Did your smoke bombs work here?" And like, did all your stuff?
Oh, you tried to. You tried too hard, Grant. You just had to run a little bit, then slice it, then run, then slice it, then run, then slice it, then run, then slice it. It was a lot of, and then like it. You were overthinking it.
I just kneeled in the steam vents until he lost me. Like,
so that's what I had to do too.
Oh, I just ran counterclockwise.
Yeah, me too. I was exactly counterclockwise.
And then did it and ran and did it and ran, did it.
Wow, it took me like 5 or 6 tries. That was like insane.
It probably took me a couple, I think, on that one. And then there was ones where you have to like
just
run
snatch me
and
up.
slide.
He would find me in the smoke. I'd be like, "Oh, you
were trying." You both were trying to hide too much. It's all about running.
Yeah. I didn't die through that. I just sort of like I was like, okay. Yeah, Rancor fight, that was hard. It was a neat take on the Rancor fight. That was probably the hardest battle in the game for me. That took me like 5 tries.
That was crazy because I was like, when are you gonna fight the Rancor? You like go through like the
the Rancor fight. It took me a while. So yeah. I since we're talking about the Rancor fight, since we're talking about it, and we were asked, I did that first try.
Really good for you.
Oh, so did I. I did too. That was
there were other things. There were other things I definitely had to repeat a million times. That one, for some reason, I was just like, I was
sad I beat that Rancor so quickly because then I was ejected from the Hutt Palace and I couldn't go back for it. But I was like, I just want to run around.
There's so many parts of this game now that I'm like, I have to like go and build up reputation again. I think I talked about it last game where I literally had to I got to the worst in Pike. And there was an afternoon I just spent like trying to get better with Pike. And now and then I had to get all the way to perfect for Pike. And I'm like, And then similarly, I had to get into Jabba's Palace because there was stuff in there I didn't get the first time. And to get back in it, I'm like, I got to get to excellent again with like, it was just like so annoying. I'm like, the mechanic's great for like, it totally is logical. It makes sense. But when you're trying to 100% the game, boy, is it frustrating.
Yeah, that just happened organically for me because I dunked on the Pikes of the face so hard I got all the way to terrible, apparently. And then I had everything. I had 3 syndicates in excellent, and so I have a question for you guys because I wondered this might be different for endgame. So I had 3 syndicates in excellent, and then Ashiga was just good.
Oh, so yeah, good question. I think of
okay. So like when Kay is flying out of the Star Destroyer, she hits a beacon to call in support. Who came to support you?
Hutts came for me.
Grant, do you remember? I know it was a long time ago.
Crimson Dawn, maybe?
Probably Crimson Dawn. I had the Pikes.
Interesting. Oh, wow. So I had to say, thank you for asking that question, Ben, because I wanted to ask that question too. Yeah. So clearly it's determined whoever's your best. So part of me wants to, and I swear I'm not going to do this. I'm probably going to do this. Want to replay the game, get all 4 to perfect, and rerun that and see what happens.
Yeah. Oh, like...
Does it just? It must just.
I think because I had 3 in excellent, it just went left to right across the syndicates.
Do you think it randomized?
No, I mean it hit Pikes, so that's the first one you run into. I think that's a way. That's my guess.
Interesting.
That's exactly what happened.
I think it's Pikes, Crimson Dawn, Hutts, and it's like.
Well, I was at excellent with Crimson Dawn, and I was excellent with Hutts, so it gave me Hutts.
Oh, so it's randomized.
I think it's randomized or literally how far. Or how far right. So my test for this, if I actually had to do this.
Wait, did I get a bonus cinematic with Kira then?
Yeah.
Or something?
Yeah, you get a bonus whoever you get. So I got a bonus with Jabba.
That's sick.
And you got a bonus.
I was super connected with Kira. I was like, Kira, I will die.
Yeah. Guys, enjoy. So the way I want to test this, I should probably go online just look at it. But the way I want to test this is go back and get everyone up to perfect. Because like when you get to perfect, you get that extra like gift. Get up to perfect. And then run the end game and see what happens. Because there should be a bonus where like all 4 of them come at the same time to help you out. Should be hilarious.
I know, like
then they all kill each other.
Then they would have all killed each other. That's cool. So there was that little variation at the end, which is kind of
fun. I thank you for remembering that, Ben, because I was curious as well. Yeah.
Right on, man.
We also saw Boba Fett in the vents.
Yeah, Boba Fett in the vents. Yep. Which is like
highlight.
I know.
The Sarlacc pit, like that whole thing.
Yes.
I took so many photos around that place, and then the fact that there's a jump puzzle in there was like absolutely off the chain.
If you're ever down, you got to get it. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's just like
jump into a Sarlacc
dragon, like that.
Crate dragon is sweet. Like it's just really, and in there's a crate dragon running around when you need to actually try to get into
the Sarlacc.
Something to do that. No, not even the Sarlacc. Later, yes, and then later on, there's like if you're trying to 100% it and you're trying to get like stuff, there's like a part you have to get into, and there's like crate dragon running around where you're trying to get in there, and it's tense.
So hilarious deaths. I was killed by the crate dragon at least once. Also, I was infiltrating a base, and things went sideways, and I was like killing everyone. Alarms are going off. I'm in a tight spot. I finally have like got myself free out of getting pinned down, and I'm like running to go to my exit, but they had called the death troopers, and the death troopers landed their Lambda shuttle on me, and I died.
That's a good one. I like that.
They all got out their like garbled speech. Like, I have no idea what's going on.
This game has made me less afraid of Death Troopers. That's the only problem with this game. Is like it was really intimidating the first time, and now that I'm like where I'm at, I'm just like I think I mentioned it before, where like literally I'll get to wanted status, and I'm like it is now easier for me to seek out the Death Troopers and take care of them than to pay it off or to do anything else. I'm like, that seems not right.
Same thing with space battles. I'm like,
Death
send
Troopers.
the Corvette, send 3 Gozanti cruisers at me. I don't care. I could pretty much like one shot Gozanti cruisers by the end of it. So I was like, okay.
Yeah, those upgrades are pretty wild that you get on the ship. What's the name of the ship? I cannot remember the name of the ship. Trailblazer.
C- name.
I like that ship quite a bit.
Boring.
Really?
First,
like,
the
name's the ship's
first draft.
The model is cool.
It looks great.
It's a little plain, but okay.
Yeah.
I like that. I like how clunky and plain it is.
I like that. It seems the right type of ship she would find. That's not, you know what I mean? Like, it's not anything special.
But it's a highly sought after ship, which that was another plot element. I was like, okay. This honestly didn't even need to be about the ship, but I guess, the ship business and the manufacturing business is like important to these brothers.
Because they're from Corellia and they manufacture ships. That was their family business. They were ship makers, so it like kind of makes sense that it would mean a lot to Slero and or whatever his real name is.
It does have like a 70s.
Oh, I love the interior. I love the interior.
They look like 70s actors.
Did either of you kept opening the bathroom to see if anything would change?
Yes, every time I go by, it says open. I'm like, okay, I'll open, and nothing.
I wanted to keep. I love the ship.
That's a good point. This is not like Fallout. This is a weird question, or a weird statement. Like Fallout, you can enter bathrooms a lot, and there's usually like things in the bathroom. There's nothing in any of the bathrooms in this game, but you can always open the bathrooms. And I'm like, why even make that a choice?
There's so many lore bombs for hardcores in this game. And I think there was a joke that I think Patton Oswalt said that's just like, I can tell you where the bathroom is on the Millennium Falcon, but I can't tell you like XYZ about history or about something else. And I think they were like, they're like, you want to know where the bathroom is? There it is.
Yeah.
I was hoping to see the Falcon in the game. I was like, that would be.
Yeah, they didn't. Other than Lando, let's see.
What's Lando flying right now?
Lady Luck, I would assume.
Yeah, I thought.
But I guess we don't know.
When she asked for help, the Lady Luck was going to show up. I was getting excited.
That would have been amazing.
Ooh.
So we got for legacy characters or outside we got Lando, Vader, Boba Fett for a second, Kira, Jabba, Bib, other people, but is that it?
Is where Kerry Russell's character came from, but
Kajimi,
but I don't
and
think,
Kajimi.
Some of the characters sounded like Zori Bliss. Like I swear, Kerry Russell did some voice acting for a character,
but she wouldn't have been.
I know, because the species, they were all like that species at that time.
She also wouldn't have been born yet, right? Because she's the same age as we assume she's the same age as Poe, and Poe was born post Episode 6, but maybe one of her parents or something. But so that's the other thing about this game is in some ways fairly restrained in pulling out legacy characters.
Yeah.
Right.
We're gonna get Hondo in a expansion pack.
Is R5 in the game?
Nah.
No, you know who's not in that game that I thought for sure?
I think R5.
I think R5 might be. Do you know
oh
who's not in this game, which I was shocked is not Pelimoto?
Yeah.
I thought for sure we would run into her in
Docking Bay 94.
Mos Eisley.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was waiting for a tap that never did. Maybe they couldn't get Amy Sedaris to come and do a voice, but I really thought we'd get her. I haven't
memorized the Docking Bay numbers in Tatooine or Mos Eisley. Shame on me.
Yeah.
But I think that the Docking Bay from A New Hope is different from the Docking Bay in. It's the same.
It's the same one. 94 is the Docking Bay from. I have that number stuck in my brain, 37. There's certain movie numbers that get stuck in my brain, and I guarantee you 94 is the same Docking Bay that Millennium Falcon blasts off from.
And also, is it also in Mandalorian? Because I think the Mandalorian is different.
I don't know about that.
That's what I was
probably
say,
different.
I think it's different. I think Mandalorian's in a different
that would make
Docking
sense.
Bay.
Which would also kind of amaze me if they chose to be different, because that show loves lore drops. But I bet you're right.
Yeah, but everything is just like a 1A. It's sort of like it's almost the thing that you remember, but it's not the thing. Like it's almost IG-11, but it's IG-88, and it's
If IG-88 was in this game, I would 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I know. I'm kind of surprised. That's what I think.
Pelibodo
I said that the first
is
week
located...
is like calling the next one Bounty Hunters would be amazing.
Oh my goodness. They're all out there, right? Like Vader just tasked them with, well, I guess, with finding.
So Pelibodo is the proprietor of Hangar 3.3-5. So whatever that means. That's where she is. Yeah.
Well,
sorry.
All right. We've spent so much time on this game, but it has been the most important thing kind of in Star Wars happening right now. So
yeah, I think we kind of
definitely.
That's probably it until maybe we'll talk about like when the bonus content or the whatever comes out in a couple months.
I rewatched the trailer. The like Lando one's supposed to drop this fall, so it could be any time.
I think November. I think
is there a new location, or is it all the same planets? It's just new missions.
I don't know.
It looks like it takes place on a like Star Cruiser. I think both of them are sort of take you at like.
Is it the Star Cruiser?
Man,
is it the Galactic Star Cruiser?
Wow.
It's probably
the Halcyon.
Probably when this game was starting to be built.
Yeah.
They're like, this is a great tie-in. We'll tie it in. People want to go there and see stuff. And they're like, oh, by the way, that thing is out of business, but we've already created this entire shell. That would be
Billy
amazing.
D and the Halcyon sounds awesome. It would be awesome though. Like just Lando guiding you through the Halcyon sounds like the only way you want to experience the Halcyon. You know what I mean? Like,
and again, like Ocean's 11, something like that. It's like there's a high stakes poker game at the beginning.
That'd be cool.
Oh man, I missed a trophy because I didn't cheat when I beat Lando. The first time I played, I got kicked off the table because I cheated too much and I got caught.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah,
but you can go back and challenge him anytime you want. So you can go get that. You can go get that.
I'm
trophy
just ashamed of myself for not.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that would have been easy.
Fair enough.
But I was really ashamed when I got busted cheating. I felt bad, actually bad.
Yeah. It feels terrible. I never got caught, but
did you ever?
I think I got caught once and they didn't kick me.
No, you have to get caught 3 times.
I just never did it again.
And he was he felt bad about it. He was like, yo, you're going to have to leave.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
He's like, you got to go.
Just shame. Just shame.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was like, oh.
Did you ever figure out how to do the double draw?
Yeah. But
what button do you hit?
Well, you use the left joystick to center it on the lit square.
Oh, the left joystick actually helps you move it.
Yeah, you have to move it, and it pushes against you for a while, but in the last 3 seconds it gets easier. But the more you use it, the smaller the target gets, and the more you cheat, the smaller the target gets. Which I learned why I got kicked off the table.
Which is the same with the
I've never hit the magnetic dice.
What? I hit it every time, which is weird. Like you as the drummer, or you as a musician, as a bassist, should have better timing.
The last time I
did
it and I had it set up, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do this, and I just I got an itchy trigger finger, and it was just a stupid thing. But I went to a couple bad tables to practice, but I didn't practice that, and yeah. Anyway, sometimes they're just too easy. That game, Sabacc, is so easy. It's so easy. No one ever has good hands. It's just, I'm like, how? There's only 6 cards. Yeah. How can you not?
You always have the best
how can you not get a 1? How can you not do that? And even when they flip the ends, it's just no one ever has a good hands. I'm like, no one can play this game, which is fun. You just always feel like you have the upper hand.
You're just the best Sabacc player in the galaxy.
It's very strange for a game that has gotten kind of knocked for certain things being too hard. That this one there was I'm almost too easy.
But it's fun. Yeah. You go in there, you feel like a card shark. You run the table and you leave, and it's less. Yeah,
I guess I just feel like it should be much harder to beat Lando.
Yeah, I know. I didn't even have to. Well, it took some skill. I mean, and the shift tokens and all that.
All the high rollers are pretty easy, honestly.
Yeah.
Lando just took me 2 times, but everyone else I beat the first time.
Yeah, and Lando I just kept taxing. I just got him out the first round because I taxed the heck out of him.
Nice.
I and then it was just
the shift token.
Yeah, his whole game is getting the that thing and using magnetic dice that. I forget the whatever scoundrel card and but I would just wait till hand 3 and then I'd drop that shift token that makes him discard his hand and repick it. It's no one's coming back. No one.
Nope. Not unless you're real lucky.
Did you guys ever pick up cards that are showing? I picked up a Prime
so many
Sabak,
times. I'm
just
like,
because it's sitting
it's
there.
a 1.
Yeah,
I'll
like
take that.
Psylocke Sabak is just sitting there. The Psylocke card. I'm like, what do you all do?
Yeah,
are you
none
playing
of
this
them
game?
pick up. None of them pick up from the draw pile. Like they should make that game a little harder. I think.
I think it's bugged. I honestly think it might be a little bugged. Something's
so that's
going
it.
on.
They don't pick it up, huh? Because I was like, in other games, are people picking up what's in the drop pile because they could win maybe if they just pick that up? Because it's crazy.
Like an insta-win card. Like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was really fun. It was a great game, and I am gonna try to platinum it though. Some of the trophies, I'm like, oh my god. Some of them look really, really, really hard.
They doable than you think. They read harder than they actually are to accomplish. The one that's the most frustrating to me was the one where you have to kill everyone in the nebula. Like you have to kill 10 ships in the nebula. But there's a way to do it. It's just a little grindy, but you'll get there.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I mean, I
feel free to text me if you want. Yeah, feel free to
because there's some things
I'm stuck on this.
I'm like, I don't even know what this means. Like, I don't even know what you want me to do here. So,
did you kill people with the Nyx picking up thing yet? Where that one? Have you gotten that one yet? Where you have to kill a certain number of people Nyx? Just have them pick up rifles for you. Just have pick up rifles and just mow them down. You're fine.
Yeah. I'm just gonna walk into a camp and fetch me that grenade launcher and then just be like say hello to my little friend.
There's the Imperial forward base in Tashara. I've massacred a dozen times. Just doing those missions where I'm like, this seems not healthy.
Yeah, give me that E11. Blom.
Exactly.
To the side, just
gatting
them.
It's so powerful. The E11 is so good.
E11 is so good in this game. At the beginning, the Empire was very scary because there's a lot of them. They're very defensible positions and a lot of firepower. And I really think in some game they need to honor the armor a little bit, and I feel like characters wearing armor should be tougher to kill.
I should be able to punch out stormtroopers.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, right? They're wearing helmets. Me punching them shouldn't do much of anything other than break my hand.
Right. Exactly. And I know it's plastoid or whatever, but it's still yeah.
Then what's the point? Yeah.
Right. What are you doing? Is it just decorative? I mean, it looks awesome. But... All right. Are we going to talk about this comic?
Yeah, sure.
We should probably get around to it, but
all
I
right,
appreciate
fine.
it.
Yeah. All right. We're going to talk about Inquisitors 1 through 4 by Rodney Barnes is the writer. Who wants to talk about it? I shouldn't lead this.
I read it as it was coming out, and I think I read the most recent issues, but it hit the shelves yesterday. It was pretty straightforward Inquisitors hunting Jedi character.
A specific Jedi.
Who's kind of a new... What
is specific Jedi? Yeah, not Jedi in general, but though there are some others they run across.
Hunting one, killing others along the way. Yeah.
Yes. And that's Tensu Run, who's this fun new character that sort of has this past with the Jedi, and then is kind of this roguish kind of Jedi character who's trying to restart the Jedi Order with whatever remainder sort of Jedi are out there. I thought it was really great action blocking, panels of action and stuff like that. I thought that was great. I thought seeing all the Inquisitors together was awesome. Just love seeing them fight. And then whenever Vader's in a comic, I'm always a fan. So I thought the Vader moments are pretty strong as well.
I like how they deployed Vader for sure. Vader's the one who keeps reporting back to Vader. He's like, "You failed again," and then literally it's "Fine, I'll take care of it," and then he does in 2 pages. Which is a very Vader move.
Yeah. Adam, do you have the credits there for this? Because I just want to give, because this is a new writer for me.
Rodney Barnes has written some Star Wars before, and I don't remember what, but he doesn't write a ton. He usually comes in and does a one shot here or there. Well established comic writer. Currently writing the Blackula series.
Oh, fun.
I think he wrote Philadelphia, which he might also be doing. So he's well established. He does comics as well as a screenwriter in Hollywood. I really like his stuff. He also has a really good podcast that I haven't quite listened to, but he does a lot of like horror podcasts about like urban legends and stuff, which is really fun. It seems really great. Gridfollow, highly recommend. So he's the writer. Raymond Rosanas is the artist. Guru EFX, which we say a lot, is the color, and Karamanga is the letterer, which we also say quite a bit. So those are your common Star Wars writers.
So let me tell you why I loved this.
Good, please, yes.
So this is again this sort of parallel storytelling. It's like the Skywalker saga, we all know about that, but like this Tensu run. Right, like has created his own sort of mythos around himself just by being a Jedi and doing good deeds, and had a couple heroic moments and saved some people, which makes sense in this sort of like in the Purge that it's a Jedi still being a Jedi. But he was like he's very Obi-Wan Kenobi to me, like real White Knight sort of like straight ahead, just like super ideological, really letter of the law as far as the Jedi dogma goes. And and this was his story, and I just thought it was like kind of a fresh take on like other Jedi during this period. We've seen a lot of what happened to the Masters and the Jedi and the Vader comics, but this is like a whole other ecosystem of Jedi that we've never seen before. His master, who we've never seen before, this cohort, this like cadre of like really strong Jedi, just doing their best to be Jedi in the galaxy together. Like we've seen rogues on their own, like Cal Kestis. Like, I mean, you could swap Cal Kestis into this story in like a lot of ways. Just like super ideological, trying to do his best, trying to keep the Jedi Order alive, and like very successful. But and then really trying. He's like, okay, I'm being hunted, but he's trying to weigh what's best for the people of the galaxy versus wanting revenge against his master being killed. And do I fight them, do I avoid them? And he's super strong, was able to take on all comers until Vader, and like stronger probably than Ahsoka, stronger probably than Kanan Jarrus. Like they all they tussled with Inquisitors, and I mean I guess maybe that's not fair because Kanan Jarrus killed the Grand Inquisitor. And Ahsoka did pretty well against Fifth Brother and Seventh Sister. Second sister?
Sure.
Seventh Sister's the big one, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
So, I mean, super strong doing, his thing. And then, ultimately got, he was a red shirt Jedi ultimately, and that got killed. But I loved the sort of fresh ecosystem of new Jedi existing. In this time period, still doing remarkable things for people. He was one of the good ones, with a bunch of other really good ones, and their light was extinguished from the galaxy by this dark force that is the Inquisitors. I mean, it's really more his story than the Inquisitors. They're just attack dogs.
Yes. Right? Yes, it is. It's one of those ones where it just feels like, yes, it was called Inquisitors. It's not. It should be Star Wars Tensu Run, but you're not going to sell comics, right? Saying that. Right. So it is. It's very much so. But yeah.
Right. And he had some of the conversations in the battles with them individually being, and I did like sort of like Fifth Brother, like super stoic. We see him in a couple of the novels, and you don't know much about him, but you see him as a Padawan training. And he pulled at those heartstrings of Fifth Brother for a while and then cut his arm off. Pretty. I don't know. I enjoyed it. It was a beautiful comic, like just visually stunning. It was a kind of a fresh story, and it was cool.
It's a pretty organic message too, right? Like light being extinguished, like you said, Ben. It's like this hopeful. Idealist sort of Jedi just gets cut down by Vader at the end of the series, and you're kind of just left thinking, oh, this is just the sort of the darkness, snuffing out the light, and when you see the dichotomy of how he's interacting with the Jedi and how they represent hope and freedom and survival, and the Inquisitors are sort of hunters, and they're bickering in these dark cabin spaces inside their ships, and they're sort of like, it just you can see that they're the dark side, like, and then you're seeing how the light operates and the dark side operates, which actually might be pretty close to some of the material we want from Star Wars in the future, which is like large amounts of Sith, large amounts of Jedi. How are they operating? How do these teams operate essentially on opposite sides of the spectrum? And you get that in this. You get like when the Inquisitors are not nice to each other. Like it is a dog-eat-dog environment.
Rough.
It's crazy. And then when you see the Jedi and how they interact, you're just kind of alleviated from that. And then you see these moments of tranquility in their pasts, that the Inquisitors have, and that's the power of that sort of dynamic, right? Of the light and the dark. And it's fun to see those stories, right, with groupings of light and dark.
That's a really good point, man. Yeah, because the light side's almost the opposite problem, like to a fault, where they're just like, no, I'll sacrifice myself. No, I'll sacrifice myself. Like they're all just trying to be as virtuous as possible, altruists, and but they're like, well, we can't kill anyone. It's like, dude, just off these people that are cancer on the galaxy.
Well, all right. This is why I love doing this podcast, because we take differing perspectives on these things, and just being honest. Sorry, I'm scrolling through a comic because I'm trying to get to a scene here. Full disclosure, before we started recording, I was like really lukewarm on this series. And I always, what happens is whenever we talk about a series, I completely come back around on it, because I'm just like, because I have to think about, I have to think about it more, and just by thinking about it more, I start to see like the depth of something, and then I appreciate it, right? Like I end up appreciating it. I will say, like, I appreciate this idea of like an untold story of a Jedi, and they explain why it's untold. Like literally, like the last scene is like Vader, like his headless body tumbling, and Vader's like, no one's ever gonna know about this guy.
Who will retrieve his head?
Yeah, and then who will retrieve his body? No, it'll be here where he'll walk over his body, never knowing.
That's dark though. Why does Vader have a head? What is going on?
That was his. That was Tensu Run's power. He was an idea. He was Batman, and that's why he was so dangerous to to the Empire. Sorry, continue.
Yeah. So, the other part that I'm trying to read here that's a little unclear what happens, but like, I think Tensu Run was falling to the dark side throughout this entire series.
Yeah,
I think like he ends up killing all those bounty hunters that come after him, which I'm not like don't kill, right? Like that's not my moral of the story. I'm not like Jedis have to be pacifists. That's not my story at all. Look at like Cal Kestis killing an Inquisitor in a way that I think is the most Jedi way ever. Like there's ways to take lives as a Jedi and still be a Jedi, but there's like, you watch him doing the math, like he starts doing utilitarianism to a point that makes me a little nervous about what he's doing. Of like, well, I have to kill all these guys because I'm going to go restart the Jedi Order and save everyone. So it's okay that I kill these 4 people because I'm going to save thing. He only leaves the Inquisitor, the 5th brother, alive, so the 5th brother can go report back and bring out more people for him to kill. It's not an act of mercy. It's an act of entrapment to kill more people. Like his goal is to kill. Like kill his way out of this.
And that's why he's not Batman, right? Because he hasn't drawn that sort of line.
And I'm not against that. This is not me moralizing. I think this is a really rich area to explore. And I don't think that he ends up dying a Jedi. That's what I love about this, is that like he had his hero's journey in this 4-issue arc of like knowing what a Jedi was, being tested and pushed in an impossible situation of like, what do I do here? How do I be a Jedi and watch everything I love and built be killed? And getting to the point of like, no, I've had enough. I'm going to go on the offensive, which is completely understandable.
He sort of represents the feared outcome that both good and
absolutely
Obi-Wan share, essentially, which is if I do go against the Empire and I do help the rebellion, I could get carried away with it, and then I'm also dealing with Anakin Skywalker, the most overpowered Jedi to ever exist.
Yes.
Like, it's just
and
death incarnate.
It will come throughout this entire series, you're going to be a legend. You're going to be a legend. And he starts getting high in his own supply, right? He starts buying into this fact that he's going to be a legendary Jedi. And instead, he ends up just being a Jedi, which I don't think he was until the very end, which is this wonderful way of just like, no, I know who I am. I know what I am. You can kill me, but I am a Jedi. And it's kind of this beautiful moment. It's horrible too.
That was nice.
But it is a nice moment of like, I think he's finally at peace before he's beheaded. Like there's a part of me almost wants to see him show up as a blue ghost, like a ghost. I know that's harder than that, but he seems completely
right
at peace at the end there. Yeah,
you're right. Like in his mind, as you know, he's going through the process. Like he's being mindful of everything that's happening to him. Like from the fame, where he's like, he does sort of naysay it for the first 2 issues. He's just
I'm doing this best, for whatever.
Blah, blah, blah. And then it's just like he's really pushed into a hard place and trying to figure it out. But he's trying to figure it out through the eyes of a Jedi, through his master. What would his master do? And yet at the same time, I mean, sometimes offense is the best defense, and maybe that was the best thing to do. And like how, but like, I don't know. I think in the like New Republic, I think they need to address this more clearly. Like in the new Jedi Order, like Rey's thing is sort of like, how do we define like our martial like utilization? It's like, are you just going to be pacifists, or do you kill Darth Vader so that he doesn't kill millions?
Right.
Like Obi-Wan didn't. We're led to believe that Obi-Wan made the right.
Obi-Wan spared him
twice.
Yeah,
crazy.
I'll give him the first time.
I mean, again, Yoda told him to kill him. Yoda was like, kill him.
Yeah. And speaking as a mostly, I consider myself mostly a pacifist.
Yeah.
I would have killed Darth Vader the second time for sure.
For sure.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Saving the twins became a thing, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
I'm not going to kill you so your son can. What? That's a messed up
No, but I think
stuff.
that ties into this comic, though. I do think that ties into this comic. I think Yoda and Obi-Wan fear the same outcome as Tensu run. Yeah. But I also think Luke, because of that familial connection, they're like, oh, Luke can confront Darth Vader, because essentially, like, this he might tug on a heartstring. Yeah. He's the last vestige of Anakin's love to Padme. This is actually the good guys manipulating the social sort of like familial dynamics of the plot, which is something you never think about.
It's a flip. That's usually how you kill a Jedi, right? You like manipulate the people they love, and it's just like, no, Luke kind of did that.
Obi-Wan, so in the original series, Obi-Wan never says go kill Vader, right? Yoda's the only one that says go kill Vader, basically, right? Or like it's not over. So part of me is like, it actually kind of is beautiful of like, because Obi-Wan, after sparing his life twice, this is so retconning, after sparing his life twice, because he can't kill his brother, Anakin, right? He realizes his son is the only thing that can bring him back to the light. It's kind of beautiful, right? I'm just like, that's this whole thing is just like, I have to like wait 20 years, and in 20 years, maybe his kid can bring him back to the light, which works, and then he dies anyway. But like, it's just kind of it works. Like, it's that idea of just like, even in the end, Obi-Wan couldn't kill Vader, or couldn't, tried to still save him, but eventually did.
And his son was like, I can't kill my father, right? But it's like, well, I mean, technically Obi-Wan just kicked the can, right? Down the road. Is like, it's your problem now. But it ended up being the right decision.
Well, they just threw light and forgiveness at the guy until Vader bent back to the light, and that's
Yeah.
No, because you're right, because it doesn't he say that now, then everything is lost? Is that what Obi-Wan says when he is, I can't kill my father? It doesn't then.
Oh, then the Empire has already won.
So Obi-Wan.
All right. I take everything I said back. It doesn't work. Whatever. All right. Star Wars is ruined. I give up.
Yeah. Then the Emperor's.
Or says he must.
Then the Emperor's.
The Emperor's.
I can't kill, but it could be an Obi-Wan. Bending the truth. He just wanted him to kill Vader by, redeeming Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah. No, we'll see. I'd like a little dynamic shift, a little more definition, but keep it vague.
Agreed. Yeah, I think it'd be interesting if you do end up like doing a Sith kind of coming back, not a rule of two. It gives you room to play around with that because you have more various people falling to the dark side, and then the question becomes: it's not just like killing Hitler, right? Which is like the analog of Vader or the Emperor. It's like, what do you deal with all the other brethren, people you love that fell to the dark side, right? Do we try to redeem them? Do we kill them? Are we saviors? Are we warriors? Like, what are we? Like, it's an interesting,
What new incantation of the Jedi, like, what form will they take in the new Jedi Order?
Yeah.
And it should be something fresh and new.
But then maybe you have a schism, like, right? A schism in the Jedi Order of like a warrior sect and like a savior sect or something,
Is that what to be honest, I don't know what schism means. I've heard it
a division, like a breaking between them. Like they kind of go off. Yeah, they go off in their own sects. Like
dispute.
That'd be fun.
Sort of.
Then we need a Martin Luther. Who would be Martin? Anyway, I'm going too high in this.
That's probably Dawn of the Jedi though. Sort of.
Yeah, that would be good. Yeah.
Inventing the code.
Yeah,
and
that would be fun too. I mean, that could be what ties them together. As they're sort of.
I'm hoping, yeah. And so I don't know. I picked up the new Insurgency comic. We've sort of covered a lot of Inquisitors. Anything more?
Yeah, we covered it.
Yeah.
I just picked up Insurgency, and there's a new species revealed to live a very long time and be involved with the acolytes of the Beyond. And they say the Jedi and Sith come and go. She has this line. It's just the Jedi and Sith come and go. We've been around forever, and I'm just like, oh, this is exciting. So this is a sort of a new possible threat. Yeah. Maybe imbued with the Force.
I thought I knew this comic, but I don't. What is Insurgency about?
That's the new one. It's the new post Episode 6 Battle of Jakku, right?
But it's not Battle of Jakku. Yeah.
Post that.
It's Battle of Jakku Insurgency. I think that's what it is. There's Battle of Jakku is like the main title, and then there's 3.
It's post Endor before Jakku.
Yeah, there's post. Yeah. There's like 3 miniseries. I think this Insurgency is the first miniseries, I believe, something like that.
And it's right after it. It's basically the Empire.
And what characters does it focus on?
It focuses on a new Imperial Moff named Ubrick Adelhard.
Nice.
And then obviously the trio. Obviously Luke is there. There's quite a bit of Vader in the issue.
All right.
Yeah. I don't want to say much about it because actually it's pretty compelling. It's actually.
And I believe those are coming out weekly. So we can talk off air, but I think they're 3-4 issue miniseries. That makes sense. And so maybe we'll cover each one as they're done. Like, we're not going to wait till all 12, right? Do you want to cover each?
So, is it sort of like 1-1-1, 2-2-2, 3-3-3?
No. 1-2-3-4, 1-2-3-4, 1-2-3-4.
Yeah.
So I think we'll cover the first 4, and we'll cover okay. So we'll cover that in a few weeks.
It does feel like the Emperor just died, and then when it cuts to the acolytes of the Beyond in the comic, they're chanting some kind of like spell around like a cauldron, and you're just like, okay, like we're tapping into the deep dark here. This is exciting, and it's sort of post Endor, like fall of the Empire. What's happening? What's the contingency effort of the Empire?
That name's been around. The acolytes of the Beyond.
Yeah, Yup Tashu's in the comic, guys.
Oof. Nice.
Yeah.
Is that term from Aftermath?
Yes, Aftermath is the first appearance of the acolytes.
It's like this is the other like is it like a Operation Cinder like
it is
cadre?
It's so it's all throughout Aftermath as well as Shadows of the Sith.
Wow.
They mention them, but it is Acolytes of the Beyond is all throughout Aftermath. So they are pulling heavily on Aftermath.
I love that.
Yeah.
What if I told you Leia picks up Vader's charred helmet in this comic?
Let's go.
And it's like a giant single panel.
Love it. Sold.
Love it. Yeah. That's powerful stuff, man.
Yeah, there's good stuff in this comic. I was like, we got to review these ones.
Well, I'm excited because this is all they're doing right now. This is everything. Like they still have like High Republic stuff kind of coming out, but like this is the full focus of Marvel Star Wars is on this. So I'm very excited when that happens because I feel like when you have everyone on board, you're focused on it, it's going to be
and like these authors, right? Like I love that it's these comic authors that are defining this era. And I mean, I do love the Aftermath books, and they're fantastic, but they're very narrow, like pretty narrow storyline with some sort of side characters, But this will tell the larger story with the main run characters, and it's great. Like, these authors are really good at telling Star Wars stories and creating Star Wars stories, so they've got a lot of latitude to play with to tell really meaningful stories here in this time period, and it's great that they're the ones doing it. It's really exciting.
The Battle of Jakku is coming. It's going to be very exciting.
Yeah. Knowing what the big 3 did during the Battle of Jakku, like, let's go.
Yeah.
So you kind of see the Battle of Jakku in Battlefront 2, right? Like,
a little bit of it.
A little bit.
I kind of forget.
We need the Rogue One treatment on the Battle of Jakku just because it's the graveyard of ships where Rey is from. Like it's a pretty important location. It's kind of not a ton.
We have the novels from the Battlefront 1 and Battlefront 2 that are sort of hovering around this as well. But it's like kind of, Battlefront 2 is really from the point of view of what's her name?
Nope, gone.
Iden Versio.
There you go.
Iden Versio.
Yeah, I feel like once Mandalorian and Grogu come out and they've demonstrated that they can completely do the Han, Leia, and Luke de-aged stuff for a long period of time, then they'll be able to go back and do a movie with this story.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for the bucks from the core Star Wars contingent, that's how you're gonna do it. You got to tell more Luke, Leia, Han stories, and that would do it.
We are 5 to 10 years away from a full movie of that. I guarantee you, of just the Trinity. Yeah.
I think that's fair, and that would be the perfect time for it to come out. But I don't know. I mean, I still think we might be 5 years from the Rey movie. The way
I think that's
we're definitely
fair.
I mean, we're definitely 2, probably most likely sooner than 3, and it's I wouldn't be surprised if it's 5.
Stephen Knight's going to get fired. They eventually have to fire him,
right,
and then hire someone else. And there's nothing against Stephen Knight. It's just he's all in Peaky Blinders land right now because they just finished doing the last season, and now he's writing the movie that's coming out. They're doing a Netflix movie of that, and I'm love him, love Peaky Blinders. It's great that he's doing that. I'm not begrudging him,
right?
But clearly. He has other things he's doing right now. Maybe we should hire someone else. There are a lot of screenwriters. There's a lot of talented screenwriters that are out there. They're looking for jobs. Hire a few of them and get working on the script. Get someone writing, putting words on a page. Just do it. Yeah.
There's probably some working scripts that they have that are, we have the Lindelof script, and then, like you're saying, the Stephen Knight script is probably there's 3 or 4 scripts I heard or something, and then they got notes. And
I don't know that Stephen Knight's written the script yet. I think he's written the treatment. I think he's only at the treatment stage. But
the treatment stage.
Which I mean, it's something, right? You have
Daisy Ridley keeps saying I haven't seen a script yet, but I expect to soon. So that tells me there's one that's being worked on somewhere. But
I just imagine Stephen Knight being hands-on at the set of Peaky Blinders. Working a 12-hour day and then running back to his trailer and writing an hour of this thing to just get it out and be it's done, it's fine.
Yeah.
Here, read it. It makes me very nervous.
That's I mean, the Rey film is almost going to be the guiding spear for what the Jedi are in the future.
Yeah,
so there's more weight on maybe that film
for sure.
Film's shoulders than any other film.
Mangold can just play. I mean, the first one doesn't.
Yeah,
the first one doesn't have to tell us anything.
No, because we know what it leads to, right? We know it.
We know, what the order is.
It's just primitive people messing around with the Force.
But Rey's order will be nuanced, I imagine. At least we're expecting some sort of nuance as the audience, and that's the difficulty as the screenwriters. You're just, how can I make the Jedi more interesting?
Right. And the other thing is,
what can I do differently?
That I keep hitting on is that whoever writes it has to write a standalone movie that also can be expanded to a series of movies, because that's what Lucasfilm is doing right now. Is because they have these 3 movies or 4 movies now. They're all standalone. They've all been advertised as standalone, and they're clearly working on this fact of we'll see what hits and then we'll expand. So that's really tough to tell a Rey standalone story that also creates, more that could possibly build on.
We keep calling it the Rey film, and I have to think this is going to be the Master Skywalker film.
Mm-hmm.
I think everyone's just wrong in terms of how they're titling the film, because I think
they're
Rey
not going
was
to call
called
it
Master Skywalker by all the students. I imagine.
I'd be so happy to hear that.
Yeah. I imagine keep saying Rey. I don't know if a lot of people are going to use Rey.
Yeah, or are they all just going to call? Yeah, they're going to absolutely. It's going to be Master Skywalker. Are they going to do this thing that we theorized way back when we were trying to figure out why it was called Rise of Skywalker, and they're just going to all Jedis are going to be named Skywalkers?
That was Force Awakens. That was some deep Reddit theory board stuff.
Oh, that's wild.
Just spread like wildfire. It was crazy. That
which did ultimately.
I'm not going to say who wrote the post, but it was what if the Jedi were just called Skywalkers? What if the Jedi were called Skywalkers or something?
Yeah.
That one ablaze.
I mean, you got it in Chiss Ascendancy. Zahn grabbed it and ran. They used In the Chiss
that's
Ascendancy,
right.
they are called Skywalkers.
They're called.
Skywalkers.
They're literally called
Yeah.
Skywalkers. Yeah.
What a coinky dink.
Interesting.
But
Yeah.
nonetheless, I just think that Rey will be. I think everyone's going to be calling her Master.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're gonna get the Reys. You're gonna leave it for Finn and Poe, possibly, or other people call.
Yeah, maybe
Rey.
they say Rey.
But yeah, everyone else could be Master Skywalker, which is gonna be awesome.
Her character could be like Oscar award winning. Like, I mean,
So it's tough. We want to take it. We want more Star Wars. So that's the goal of our podcast, and hopefully other Star Wars fans is just more, and we love it, and we support Lucasfilm and Disney for just making Star Wars because it's key. It's quintessential to our entertainment sphere. But nonetheless, I do think we have a high bar of sort of standard, like a high bar of excellence that we want to achieve with Star Wars, especially after like Andor. Andor is definitely the bar just shot through the ceiling. I really don't know how Lucasfilm comes back from that other than making stuff that's as gripping and that real and sort of capturing more than just the diehard, fans in the net, but everyone essentially. Like diehard Andor to me, like I've talked to other people about it and they love it. Like a lot of people are not huge Star Wars fans, but Andor just somehow cuts through the audience demos, and it's really galvanizing and powerful because I think again it's just really well written drama, and so when we see and then I think Daisy Ridley is an incredible actor that I could definitely deliver on the same sort of dialogue and sort of character motivations that are as deep and sort of I would say just well thought out, well designed as the ones in Gilroy's scripts.
Yeah, no, and I think like we saw Rey as sort of like, oh, I don't know what's going on, all these changes. It's like 10, if this does do a 10-year time jump, like we've heard, or any sort of time jump, it's just like now we can have a very confident master. And like,
Ben, to make a point, if we're not seeing it for another 5 years, it's not a 10-year time jump. It's just 10 years.
It's just been 10 years. Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, I'm pretty
That's
sure.
the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be 10 years. About
it's funny that Rian Johnson was sort of given a blank sheet to go do, like carte blanche to go do whatever he wants, sort of in Star Wars as a sort of trilogy, and which I'm excited for if
I don't think
does
that's
come
ever
out.
going to happen now. But
also, I don't know. I try.
I would love it too.
I just still thinking about it. He's just busy with the Knives Out.
I hope so.
He has one
that's
more
the only reason
Knives Out movie to make, and then. Yeah.
But if any film deserves sort of that Last Jedi energy, I would say it's this new Rey film. Like, it's almost like if you're going to do this Master Skywalker film, Rian Johnson and just the wavelength he was on, and maybe just writing it and
you don't give him
directs it. You know what I mean? And it's sort of like the idea is that he's sort of connecting all the dots with what the Last Jedi was sort of digging into, which is sort of new outlooks on Jedi and learning and failure and lessons and things like that could then be, I would say, even more interesting in this film, where it could really dive into that for Padawans and all types of people. Broom Boy was basically a setup for let's continue this sort of like coming of age story with young Force wielders essentially, and sort of what that means, and it'd be cool if he just kind of continued where he left off.
It would be. I think I'd love to see his take on the beginning of a story, of a trilogy, as opposed to the middle part, which I appreciate, but I think he is really good at like setting up like stuff, like either like Looper,
right?
Not my favorite, but like
the
world
TK stuff was
creating
built
is
in.
amazing.
It was like right there.
And you can go from there, right? Yeah.
Right on. I think we did it for a week, guys. This was good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we talked about the Rey movie so we've checked that box. Or the Master Skywalker movie. Apologies.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
You're too
There you go.
But we did all those things. Are we going to try and read a book next week?
Yeah. You want to do High Republic?
Yeah.
Tears of Nameless? Let's do it. I will. We'll do Tears of Nameless. I will read Beware the Nameless. Is that what the little kids reader is? I'll read that for us. I'll take that bullet and I'll do my 5-minute book report.
All right. The Force bless you, or whatever
Exciting.
you say.
The completest. The Force bless.
I do miss these High Republic Jedi where we're not with them.
Yeah, me too.
A little bit.
Too.
Like, I want to get back with with Vanessa Rowe and Reith Silas and the crew.
Exactly. I read the first 2 pages and went to sleep the other night. But I do own it, and I'm ready to go. I'm not ready for to change gears into this yet, but I'm ready now. So looking forward to that read. Tears of the Nameless. Actually, this one's I've had circles since I've heard the name of that book, because I'm let's get into the Nameless more and figure out what's going on. They're a mystery in and of themselves. The Shri Kari, or whatever their real names are.
Yeah, something like that.
Shri Karai. Rad. All right. Y'all are awesome. Love you guys. Love talking Star Wars with you. Let's do it again next week. Thanks for saddling up at the Cantina with us. And we will talk to you next week on
Cantina Chronicles.